Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We have had another extremely productive week here on the floor of the House of Representatives, passed out a number of priority bills to do the things that we've said all session that we want to do, things that make our communities safer with crime prevention, things that build our state's economy with deregulation, with continued tax reform, with doing things to support our downtowns like downtown St. Louis. So it's been another really productive week and happy to take any questions.
So what is going on with the response to Amendment 3? The caucus seemed behind HJR 54. That changed in committee, and then now it seems like the energy is around HJR 73. That also changed in committee. It changed bill handlers. Is HJR 73, is that the priority right now? Like, where does the caucus sort of stand?
So the answer to that question is yes. Um, as everyone knows around the state, the Republican majority is a pro-life majority, and we believe strongly in protecting the lives of the unborn. Over the course of this entire session, we've wanted to work together with our House colleagues, with our Senate colleagues, to come up with another question to put in front of the voters, something that is more moderate than what was originally passed in Amendment 3. Again, this is not something that we can just impose ourselves and create and pass into law. What we are doing is creating another question for the voters of our state to consider. And that's what we are doing with a number of the House Joint Resolutions that have moved through the process this year. And at this point, there's been some consensus that has developed within our House chamber, within our House of Representatives, within the Republican caucus to work on what you saw get voted out of committee last night with House Joint Resolution 73.
The changing of the vehicles and the bill sponsors has sparked a lot of confusion among people that cover this stuff closely. Is that a strategy, or was there disagreements about how far you guys want to go?
You know, I think everyone has had different viewpoints on how exactly to solve the problem. When you have 110 House Republicans and a lot of passion behind this particular topic and a lot of just internal discussions on what's the appropriate response, what's the appropriate strategy, you have just disagreements at times. So I think over the entire course of session, what we've been trying to do is find something that gives us consensus, and that's what you see with the current language in that House Joint Resolution, as well as the sponsor of who will be carrying that bill forward in the House.
One more quick follow-up.
Sure.
Is there a way to succinctly explain what exactly HJR 73 would do? The language just became public a few hours.
Sure. So it does a few things. So one of the things that we heard from our voters when they passed Amendment 3 in November, and I think the thing that seemed to really galvanize them is they wanted more exceptions in the law than currently existed in the law. So what 73 does is it codifies the exceptions for rape, incest, life of the mother, ensuring that miscarriage care and ectopic pregnancy care is all permitted, clarifying that. It does that. It does also eliminate or repeal Amendment 3 in its entirety because of how extreme and aggressive Amendment 3 is. But again, recognizing that the voters did suggest to us that they wanted more exceptions than the law provided. So it does those things. It also includes a number of other provisions which the voters in the past have overwhelmingly supported and which polling shows they continue to support. It would ensure that health and safety regulations are in place and that you don't just have a Wild West dynamic like we currently have under the framework of Amendment 3. It would ensure that no taxpayers funding for abortions would return and be in place. It would ensure that parental consent is required for care for minors, and that it also has a component that would ensure that that children would not be undergoing gender transition procedures, which is something that's also incredibly important to the people in our state.
What do you mean when you say parental consent for care for minors? Does that mean that a parent would have to sign off on a child getting abortion in matters of incest?
Yes.
When do you anticipate bringing this bill to the floor?
It would likely next week.
Do you feel like you're running out of time with only 5 weeks left?
No, I don't think so. I think that we have always recognized that for this to ultimately get through the Senate, it's likely going to come up in the last couple of weeks in session on the Senate side. So time is getting late. We do know that, but we don't think we're running out of time at this point, especially if we can get it out of the House by the end of next week.
Speaking of deadlines, the Chiefs came out recently with a June 30th deadline if they want to know where they're going to go, whether it's Kansas or Missouri. Do you feel under pressure? It seems like there were 3 bills, bipartisan bills that were filed to create a funding mechanism in Missouri to fund stadiums for one or both of the teams. None of those bills have really moved this year. Is that the best pathway? Like, how is Missouri going to respond to what Kansas did?
So we have been having numerous conversations with House Senate leadership, with the governor's office on a strategy for that. We don't have something that we're ready to release and announce at this point, but we have been having weekly conversations about that very topic. I want to come back to the question that you asked about incest just a minute ago. I need to double check that. I don't want to be misquoted on that, so I want to check and confirm that answer.
If you can't share, would it happen legislatively? Would it happen from the executive branch?
So I think there's numerous tools that are being considered. Some of the things that we're looking at do we have current programs already in existence that are within the purview of, for example, the Department of Economic Development that they might be able to utilize? That's a piece of it. Looking at other options too. Are there things that the legislature would need to do to come alongside the department to give them more tools? Those are all things that are currently being worked on and under consideration.
Sir, there were changes at the beginning of session to how the floor debate times would work, especially on third read. Have those changes had the effect that the speaker was expecting them to?
I would say so to some extent. I think you saw a good example of that today with the guns bill. So you had a lot of people have an opportunity to talk because of the shorter 5-minute time frame on third read. So I think we were on that bill for nearly an hour, somewhere around an hour today, and you had a large number of both House Democrats and House Republicans who had the opportunity to weigh in and share their opinion, which I think is good. That's what we want to see. So I would say yes is the answer to that question. The idea was to create more opportunity for more people to speak, and I think you saw that happen today. Whereas in the past, if you go an hour for debate on a third read, maybe you only have 4 or 5 people that get a chance. And today I lost count of how many people. It was a lot. So I think yes.
One more quick question
Sure.
on 73. The question at the very end, the question that would go on the ballot as currently written, makes no mention of abortion ban. It uses affirmative language saying, do you want to guarantee the right to abortions in terms of ectopic pregnancies, et cetera? Is that deceptive in your mind? It's been criticized as deceptive.
No, I don't think so, because there's not actually an abortion ban in 73. So what it does is it codifies exceptions, but then it's silent as to other components, as to whether there would be a ban in other instances. So
it grants the legislature authority over those laws, right? So you would be able to come back to the next session and ban.
It does create more flexibility for the legislature to do things in that space. That is true.
We'll take one last question.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend.